I'd like to start by acknowledging the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of the lands I'm speaking to you from today. I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians across the lands we're all coming from as well. I'd like to pay respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge that sovereignty has never been ceded. Welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in again today. My name is Asha Zappa. I'm the Mental Health Promotion and Program Manager here at Way Ahead. And I'm really excited to be chatting to today's winner. And don't forget, our award winner will be joining in the chat. Please post any questions you have and congratulations and comments in there. I'm thrilled today to be speaking with Russel Henry, the CEO of Newcastle Football, winners of this year's Outstanding Achievement in Mental Health Promotion Award. Welcome, Russel, congratulations. Thank you for speaking with us.
Hi, and thank you for the award. It's really appreciated, much appreciated. Thank you.
Absolutely well-deserved winners for this program that you've started. Can you tell us a bit about the initiative and what inspired you to create it?
I suppose it came from another direction, really. I was approached by a gentleman that I've known through football for ages now, who is involved with social work, and he said we'd been talking about it for about 12 months, and in the end of 2019 it came to a little bit more serious conversation. We got together, we put our heads into it, scored a bit of a grant from the government, which was helpful, and it went on from there. Our main aim was to put some workshops together and get the message of education, support and encouragement out to the football people, which didn't restrict it to football. It could have included anybody in the community, because that's what we're aiming for. But mainly, you know, coaches, parents, players do suffer a little bit sometimes from anxiety and a bit of pressure. So we wanted to make them at ease. So that's where the focus and the aim was at first, yes.
And it sounds like it's grown a fair bit since then as well.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we didn't know, like any new project, you start off with great high hopes, and at first we didn't really understand what it would grow into or how people would accept it. So the workshops slowly built up, and then all of a sudden Facebook and the likes, social medias grew into it through 𝘤𝘭𝘶, the local group down at 𝘠𝘬𝘬𝘺, ourselves, our people, our clubs just jumped on board and started pushing it around, and we held a what we call a mental health round on I think it was the last round, the 10th, 11th of October last year, because we didn't have any final series through COVID, and it was well supported by clubs who put up tents and marquees and gave away some gifts and drink bottles and stuff like that. And then this year we started off a little slower, but it still built up into a great May. I think this time we had our social mental health round, and people jumped all over that to 7 or 8 clubs again set up. People who attended those clubs home and away enjoyed the experience and asked some very vital and informative questions too.
Wow, fantastic. I know one of the things that really stood out to the judges of the awards was the way that your program really reaches people that are sometimes left out of mainstream mental health messaging. How did you approach this and combat that?
Yeah, that's probably the interesting thing. I mean, at first I probably thought, oh, you just ask people and they'll come along and they'll be involved. But how it started out, a number of workshops were very successful, and of course the groups came along in different numbers. There'd be 10, there'd be 20, there'd be 30, there'd be 5, there'd be 6. And then this year we thought, well, how are we going to expedite that a little bit better? And what it was is we actually then started to take it to the club. So again, through one of the 𝘤𝘭𝘶 officers, we approached clubs and actually took it to their, well, we might as well say their change rooms, I gather, or if they had a little club room, but went out to the clubs and took it to their backyard. They felt a lot more comfortable with that than actually registering to come to a workshop where they'd be amongst strangers. This way they were amongst teammates or friends, and even mums and dads got involved. So that really grew this year, and I think that was the key to the success of it all, taking it to the people. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. Really meeting people where they're at as opposed to putting them into a situation where they might be uncomfortable.
Yeah, we're trying to help them with the comfortability of everything, and there we were putting them in some uncomfortable situations. Although they were people who were at the workshops wanted to be there, we couldn't get the numbers we were after, so we ended up taking it to the clubs, and the clubs loved it. Yes, much more comfortable.
And lots of people, including volunteers, have been a huge part of the project. What inspires people to get involved and to volunteer?
Look, do we hit this at the right time, and we'll blame it on Mr. COVID? I'm not really sure, but certainly with lockdowns and all that, people were looking for a release or for some help, or are you okay, mate, and all that sort of stuff. And the volunteers at the clubs who are under a bit of pressure. There's no doubt about that. They are not paid. They're unpaid servants of the club and employees of the club. They had their hard times. I had a bit of an example of that myself back in July when we kicked the season off. I didn't feel too good about a few things and had to seek a little bit of help, which luckily I had people around me, and I think that's where the volunteers come into it. They were just willing to give all they could give and listen to what needed to be done and help the people as they move along. Without volunteers, which I have a little back of some PowerPoint displays that we put on every year at the start of the season, I have that the volunteer is the rarest commodity and most valuable commodity that a club can have. So if we had to pay them, we'd be broke. So good on them.
Yeah, it's really incredible to hear not only about their involvement, but the continued involvement of volunteers. It's not just once and run off.
Yeah, and I think I'm not bragging in any way, but to be in that group when I was not in administration as I am now, but I've been a volunteer at a club, and my wife and my family and kids, and it's a great place to be. It's a community, and it's amazing now when I look back and I think, well, okay, I've had a few conversations with people I didn't really know. I was asking them how they were, and they were probably thinking the same of me. But to be a volunteer is a rewarding exercise. In this particular case, when you're actually listening to people's woes and how they're feeling and how they were getting through COVID even, was, I suppose we're all a bit of social work this particular couple of years, and maybe a few more to go yet.
Yeah, but everybody's really coming together and giving that support to each other and to themselves.
Exactly. We find it in our office even. We run our office. There's myself and the two ladies that work for me or work for the group, and we, you can't help but hear what your troubles and woes are, and we're a very forgiving company, if you can call us a company. We don't see ourselves as a big business company. We're a very, very small organisation, but we have 10,000 participants. And in the office, it's run like a family. If you need to go and do something, you go, and if you need some help with something, we'll help you. And we understand, and I think that's how the community needs to be, a little bit more forgiving, understanding, and certainly helpful, and connect with your neighbour even a bit more.
What would you say are some of the challenges that you've faced and the programs faced?
Probably acceptance, people to accept what the message was all about, and that we were there for them, and so were the professionals. They were there for them. Once that sort of we got through that glass barrier or that ice cap that was there, I think we moved on very quickly from there, because social media was a great. It can be a real pain, as we all know. It can be a very rude machine, but in this particular case, the social media, and I've got a counterpart who says he's as technical as a lead pencil, and I'm about the same, I think. But following people posting and saying, "Hey, Asher, this could be important for you. Why don't we go along together?" and things like that, to the workshops and involvement. So that was a bit of an icebreaker, was just to get people to accept the message that we were coming out with. We didn't want to be in their faces. We didn't want to push anything. It was just merely, we're here to talk and offer some assistance. And as I said, education, support, and encouragement were the three things we were after.
And Can you remember a time or a specific event where you really realized the impact that the project was having?
Yeah, I suppose a little bit on a personal basis, if I can use that. As I said, back in July, I had a situation where I wasn't real keen on where we were heading with the competition because of COVID and the fears of what it could do. And having a chat to not necessarily the people within the program, but certainly going to a professional and having a bit of a yap. And in this case, it was a doctor helped me through it. And then I had another little episode in April this year. So I think you've got to seek assistance. You've got, even if it is your neighbour, sometimes they're not professional, but they'll listen if they're willing to listen. But we didn't, you know, I'm trying to think of an area specifically to do with football, but it was just really the warmth that was coming from the clubs, in that there was no specific information given to us about an incident or something, but certainly the acceptance via the social media and the clubs. And they'd ring up and say, when's the next workshop on? Would like to go, or how do we talk to the guy from Calm who came out to our club? We'd like to do some more. So other than maybe my two particular situations, which I learnt a little bit more about myself through this program. It was just a real buzz to see it happening in front of you. So I hope that answers that particular question. It's a bit of an awkward one to get through.
No, definitely wonderful to hear that. And it's interesting you said that you found, reaching out for some help was really valuable for you. And it sounds like your program shows people where they can reach out, or how they can go about it.
Yeah. And as I mentioned before about your neighbour or your friends, within our own group and our own company, I got great support from our chairman, who's not only a chairman and my boss in a way, but certainly a close friend. And his support over a period of weeks was enormous, along with the rest of the board members and my staff. Just shows you that whilst it might have been me, it could have been anybody. And if you've got that support and that friendship around you and that willingness to listen and not just sort of scorn and say, oh yeah, it wouldn't happen to me, it can happen to anyone. So yeah.
Yeah, and you're really starting those conversations so it doesn't feel so scary.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably the best word, is scary. Start the conversation and just somebody say, are you okay? Yeah. I know that's not my key phrase. It's been around a little bit longer, but it is who we are. Yeah, okay, mate. How you doing, pal? Whatever it is.
Yeah, and giving people an opportunity to say, not, things are rough.
Yeah.
I know that football clubs around Australia, and especially in Newcastle, have a really strong emphasis on building communities. What's been the broader community response to Mental Health Aware?
Again, the only way that we've gauged it is through social media, and amazingly, I don't know everybody in the football world around here, but certainly I can tell where some of the people that are involved. And there was a lot of mums and dads and aunties and uncles and grandmas and grandpas who are better than me on social media. And you just listen. There was no real in-depth, but you could see that people were sharing the message. They were saying, hey, maybe Fred needs this, or Bob needs that, or how about we do this, how about we do that, and the willingness of the clubs to get on board in a group. You see some of the photos on our presentation, which is only a minor take up on it, but attending some of the grounds when it was particularly around the football was really, I know, warming. There's a photo of me holding a drink bottle there with one of the club people at South Wallsend, and that was just an opportune moment. But we sat and spoke with him and the secretary, and it was just a real good half an hour chat on mental health and how that club was promoting it. So yeah, we're okay. Football's a good vehicle, and in most cases, not most cases, the vast majority of cases, people who follow sport in general, especially a team sport, are good people, and they'll always keep an eye on you.
Definitely. And I know one of the really interesting things, the thing that really stood out to me that the program does is you match mental health awareness with football drills. And I'd love to hear more about what that actually looks like.
Yeah, look, personally, I was a bit surprised to see some video of that, and I know the club that it went to, and I thought, wow, okay, why is this working so well? And I put it down to, again, a team sport. It's tough when you're an individual and you're out there as say Ash Barty, a tennis champion, who's got to get through some of this stuff on her own with medium amount of help. But when you've got a team around you, you've got a lot of different skill sets who don't realise that by just being your mate or being your teammate or being your coach or your manager. And then when you put a aspect of mental health into a training drill, I think the same is there. You've got to get the skill correct. You've got to deliver the pass properly to make your mate be okay. And I think this is the same with the mental health throughout the community and the sport in particular, is that it's a bit of the same. The drill's got to be done well. You've got to be a good participant and you've got to deliver the part, and your mate's got to receive the same ball. And I think that's where it worked, making it similar to a skill or a drill to do with football or any sport really. It could be cricket, it could be Aussie rules, it could be any of them. Yeah. So I was really surprised to see that come to the fore in the video, and it's also a little bit of fun too, because you can have a bit of fun with it. Somebody can make a mistake and say, hey, let's calm all down, and it gets everybody in the mood to give the right encouragement is the word. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I really love that, like meeting people again where they are, something that they know.
Yeah. Again, it was taken to them. It was in their comfort zone. They didn't have to go somewhere special. They didn't have to come into our office or into our. We've got a nice big room upstairs, about 200 square meters. Sorry, of conference area. We could have brought them in there, but no, they were in their own element. They'd gone to training. That we didn't have to take them out of something special. Mum didn't have to drop them off, or they didn't have to get to it, and they just simply found it part of their training. And I think sometimes when you're concentrating on what you're doing as a skill, you don't realise that you've got your mind open to the chatter that's going on behind you from the person that's delivering the message.
Yeah, I think the other good parallel there, talking about it like a skill, is that, you know, a lot of these things around mental health are skills that you can learn and you can get better at and train.
Yeah, I think not so much I think, but the world should think the same. That learn to ask some questions, learn to what the replies may be. I'm going to get into trouble for this for sure, but our daughter's a social worker, and we sometimes get asked questions that I don't think we really realise we're being asked as parents. But it is a delight to have her in the background. Gee whiz, I'm really going to get in trouble now, aren't I? But yeah, I think she sometimes analyses us as parents, but that's okay. We love her, and to understand exactly why you get asked these questions is just as important as the answers you receive, I think. So it's a skill that we may have, but we may not know that we can fine tune it and help our friends with it. And as I said, I hope I don't get into too much trouble off my daughter over that one.
I can't speak for your daughter, but I think you were very kind about that. But
okay.
Nothing to get in trouble about.
Thank you.
And it's like you said, it's always good to bring in different perspectives and different ideas.
Yeah, you know, the gentleman that I got involved with, Brad, way back in, I can't remember when he came into involved with football. There's always been an intriguing sort of person to talk with. He's always had that social command about him and the community about him. And every time we talk, and to get this thing up and off the ground initially with him was very important. He's moved on into another vocation, and good on him. But to just get involved with people who have the skills, and I hope I've picked a few up. I don't profess to be that good at it, but I'm a listener. I think sometimes I'm too much of a talker by the sounds of it, but I'm a listener as well. So hopefully my wife sees this and she thinks the same.
I think that you've listened to all the people around you by creating this and keeping it going. it's
Yeah.
definitely listening.
Oh yeah, it'll be the next stage once we've got the ball up and rolling, it's only a tap now to keep it moving. I don't think it'll like a lot of hard work to get it initiated and get it moving. Once you get it up and rolling, and it's like the tyre that the kids used to once a time play with tyres on the side of the park somewhere. You just get it rolling and tap it, and it'll just keep moving, and hopefully it doesn't gather too much moss.
And just to finish it up, can you tell us a little bit about what winning the award means to you and to Newcastle football?
Yeah, look, as all the participants and all the nominees had to go through the same setup because of lovely COVID kept us away from maybe a gala performance in front of somebody or whatever. We all had to give a little bit of a pre-winner's speech. And I now have had a bit of time, or we have had a bit of time to chat amongst ourselves and get some text messages and some emails from people. And I'm over the moon. I'm so not emotional, but certainly pleased with the result. To see the people that were in the final with us and what they did is very encouraging, because I think they're both groups hands in the tree, I think, and push-ups were brilliant in what they came up with. Ours was a bit unique this year, and maybe that's why we got over the line. But I'm thrilled for the people that got involved. I'm very happy for my staff and for the people, the professionals who helped us, and more or less the members of our organisation, the whole 11,000 people from 6 to 60, or the individual who went away and maybe sought some help. And even if there's one person that went away and sought some help. So it's pretty hard to say how we feel when I'm sitting in front of the camera giving you a bit of a chat, but really chuffed and over the moon, because it's something that we didn't get involved in anything. We didn't even know there would be a nomination or anything. So you don't, it's a bit of a cliche, but you don't enter these things to win something. You just enter them because it's the right thing to do. So if that sums it up, I'm more than happy to leave it there, Asha, and we'll carry on regardless.
Well, thank you so much, Russell, for chatting with me today and sharing the incredible work that you're doing with everybody watching. And congratulations again, very much.
Well, look, if I could thank obviously yourself for today and the Way Ahead group. What a marvellous promotion, and again, we didn't know anything about this at the start, that there'd be any such awards. So thank you for your efforts. Thank you for your staff and anybody else, your bosses and whoever else works with you. It's a brilliant Way Ahead is a great name for a group too. So please be safe, follow the rules of the land with our COVID, and we'll all come out of this a bit happier, I think, come Christmas time. So thank you for the opportunity, and all the very best to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you again, Russell. And thank you all for watching. Don't forget, you can learn more about the winners. We'll link them in the chat, and you can check out all our winners at mentalhealthmonth.org.au. Join us Thursday, the 21st, for our next chat. We'll be talking with Margot Ward from Kids Express, winners of the Mental Health Matters Youth Award. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.